Now that we have our shared settings correct and we have our document created, I want to show you a couple of creative ways to use a Google Doc specifically. This is an example of a hyperdoc, and the teacher who created this hyperdoc merely created a Google Doc, has text, and you'll notice that she has created a chart. In each section of this chart, she has a link to a video. She's got a link to an article that her students are going to read. There is a section here where her students will actually take notes on the articles and the videos that they've watched. There is a quiz included here. There are some instructions here where the students will actually pop out and create a Google slide related to the content that they're learning. And in this next to the last box, there is a place for these students to reflect and respond about what they've been learning. So lots of different learning tools. The very last thing here is a quiz over the book that the teacher has introduced. So there's a lot of content and a lot of resources in one very concise, organized place here. Now, if you've created this hyperdoc, the question that needs to be answered next is, how am I going to get this hyperdoc, this shared Google Doc, to my students? And you may remember in the earlier video that we talked about shared settings. So we're going to come up here to the shared settings, go into the advanced button, and we're going to click change, and we'll talk about these choices again. So this shared Google Doc has been created for the students in my class, for example. So the choice of setting for me is going to be anyone in Granbury ISD who has the link to this will be able to use it. So I'm going to click anybody in Granbury ISD. My students are going to be working on Chromebooks, so they are not going to have to worry about their Granbury ISD login because they will already be logged in. Now, the other option to consider, do I want my students to have to be able to have access to edit this, or do I just want them to look at it? Well, if I set it to Can View, they will be able to do everything on this hyperdoc. They'll be able to watch videos. They'll be able to click and read articles. They will not be able to take notes or reflect and respond on this document unless I set it so that they can edit. So I'm going to leave my settings, anyone in GISD with the link, because I want to control who has the link, and I'm going to change this to can edit. And then I'm going to click the Save button. Now, and you'll click Done after those choices are made. The next step to using this document or one like it, you're going to have to get this document to your students. In GISD, Google Classroom is one of the best ways to share assignments, documents, resources, anything you want your students to have. Google Classroom is a great choice. So I have a sample class set up. I'm going to open that. I'm going to create a new assignment. I can also create an announcement if I don't want to set a due date for it and go through all of the steps of an assignment. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to create an assignment. I'm going to title it name of the book, and I can give some instructions here. I can say complete all sections of the hyperdoc. And remember that the hyperdoc is living in your Google Drive. So I'm going to choose the Google Drive option here. And I'm going to search for the document that we were just looking at. And here it is in my Google Drive. I'll click select it and add it. And you have another option here before you leave this. This is the only time you have this option. This little drop-down menu right here where it says students can view the file. If I drop that down, I also have the option to make a copy for each student. And if you remember the document, we are asking our students to type on that document. If you don't choose make a copy for each student, every student in your class is going to be typing on the same document. There may be times where that's exactly how you want it to work. For this particular assignment, you probably don't want everybody answering and reflecting on the same document. So I'm going to click Make a Copy for Each Student. I can schedule this for later. I can save it as a draft and post it later, or I can click Assign, and it will show up in Google Classroom immediately. So that's just one of the ways that once you have the hang of a shared Google Doc, getting it to your students in Google Classroom is an excellent way to share it. If you don't want to use Google Classroom, these documents can be shared individually. You can click your shared button and make the choices here and grab this link. This is a link to share. So if you have it set where anyone in GISD who has the link can view it, you can copy this link and you can pop that into an email. You can post that on a website. You can put the link in Google Classroom, even though it's easier to post it the way we just demonstrated. So consider who needs access to your document. Think about Google Classroom as a way to share those documents and use your Google Docs collaboratively to increase the engagement for your students and to save yourself some time at the copy machine. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call the help desk at extension 4125.